Welcome friends, I'm Meryl Mania, and in today's episode I will be teaching you how to put your guitar into E-flat tuning. So, let's do it! So before we begin, it's really important that you have a tuner which enables this. It has to have a chromatic mode, C for short, or maybe it's just automatically chromatic anyway, like mine. Mine is a TC electronic unitune. So if you have something like this, you can do this. But if you don't have a chromatic tuner, I'm afraid it won't enable this. And you might have to go and buy one. Okay, so let's begin tuning and I'll talk you through it step by step as we're doing it. So I'll just switch my tuner on. It looks very 1980s with the colours. That's when I was born. Okay, so presuming your guitar is already in just standard tuning, we need to pluck the E string nearest to you first, which is like an orange colour on my guitar. Okay, so we want this string to be in E flat tuning, so E flat, but most tuners don't say flat, but they do say sharp. So the equivalent, or the fancy word, the N harmonic equivalent of E flat is D sharp. So whilst plucking the string, I'm going to turn the peg only slightly so it's becoming lower pitch until it says D sharp. The dot next to it means sharp. D sharp is the equivalent of E flat. They are the same note with the same sound, it just has two names. Okay, so let's do the A string, which is yellow. We want this to say G sharp because G sharp is the equivalent, or the N harmonic equivalent of A flat. So I'm going to just turn the peg a little. It's only about a quarter of a turn roughly. You don't have to turn this much. Okay, cool. So now we have G sharp, G with a dot next to it, the equivalent of A flat. If you ever don't have a dot though, then you've gone too far, and then you need to go a bit higher pitch again. So the dot is really important. Let's go to the blue D string. So we want this to say C sharp, C with a dot next to it. There we go. Because C sharp is the equivalent of D flat. On to the orange G string. We want this to say F sharp, because this is the equivalent of G flat. And our tuner won't say flat, but it does say sharp. So that's why we're doing it like this. Now on to the green B string. We want this to say A sharp. This is the equivalent of B flat. There we go. And then to the other E string, which is purple, nearest to the ground. We want this to say D sharp, just like the first D string we did. Okay, so D sharp is the equivalent of E flat. Actually, at the end of this video, there's a chart I've put up where you can see all of this written out. Because I find if you read this on paper, kind of makes a bit more sense. So, try not to end the film too soon. So now what we should have is D sharp, G sharp, C sharp, F sharp, A sharp, and D sharp for E flat tuning. What can be a little confusing if you're not familiar with E flat tuning is it kind of has so many names or descriptions for doing what it is. It can be called half a step down, or it can be called going down a semitone, or a note back, or a fret back. But basically, it's all the same thing. It's just lots of ways of describing the same thing, meaning we're just taking every note of each string and going lower pitch by one note back on every string. Lots of bands use this tuning as well, like my band does. Also Guns N' Roses, Jimi Hendrix did. Stevie Ray Vaughan did. So thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed or is about to subscribe. Here are my social media handles. So remember, practice makes progress, keep it fun, and I'll see you guys on the flippity flop.